The wind crawled low across the prairie, dragging ribbons of dust beneath a burning red sky. Jack Calder stood by the corral, watching the horizon, as if the past might ride out of it one day. Then he saw her, a lone rider cutting through the light like a blade through smoke. She moved with purpose, her horse breathing hard, her eyes fixed on him. When she dismounted, silence settled over the land. "You don't remember me," she said, her voice low, shaped by distance and years. Jack studied her, sun-darkened skin, a small scar beneath her eye, and something fierce in the way she held herself. "Can't say I do," he answered, her lips curved, not quite smiling. "You saved me once, near Red Mesa. I was a child then," the words struck like thunder through old bones. Jack's hand gripped the fence, memory stirring, firelight, screams, a little girl he'd carried through the smoke. "Why come back now?" he managed. She looked straight into him, steady and unafraid. "Because I came to marry you, cowboy." The air between them trembled, heavy with everything unsaid, a promise long buried, and a past that had just come home. Inside the cabin, the air carried the scent of cedar, smoke, and old solitude. Jack lit a lantern, its glow trembling across the wooden walls. The woman's eyes wandered, over the rifle above the hearth, the worn chair, the single cup by the window, the life of a man who'd stopped expecting company. "My name's Taya," she said quietly. "After that night, soldiers took me to a mission school. They gave me a new name, new words, but never a place to belong." Jack watched her hands. They trembled slightly, though her voice did not. "You were just a child," he murmured. "You shouldn't have remembered me." She smiled faintly. "You carried me through fire." A soul doesn't forget that. From her saddlebag, she drew out a cracked leather hat, his old Stetson, smoke-stained but whole. Jack stared at it, as though seeing a ghost materialize from dust. "I kept it," she said, "because it reminded me that kindness still existed, even in war." The light flickered across her face, catching the strength beneath the softness. Jack felt the years between them collapse into the quiet. "Maybe," he whispered, "we both kept something we never meant to." Night fell slow and deep, wrapping the cabin in the hum of distant thunder. Jack poured coffee into 2 tin cups, the fire snapping between them like an old secret refusing to die. "You don't owe me anything," he said, his gaze fixed on the flames. "I just did what any man would have done." Taya shook her head. "No, not every man would have carried a dying child through fire." "You did." Her voice held no plea, only quiet conviction. Jack's jaw tightened. "I'm not the man you remember. I've buried too much since then." She stepped closer, her shadow folding into his. "Then let me help you remember what's still alive." Her words struck something raw, a door he'd locked years ago. "You don't even know me," he murmured. "I know enough," she replied. "You never stopped being the man who saved me." He looked up and for the first time saw not the child he once carried, but the woman who'd carried that memory across 20 years. Between them, the silence thickened, full of something unspoken. Not love yet, but the faint, trembling shape of it, rising like dawn on the edge of an old horizon. Morning arrived, soft and gold, the prairie washed clean by night rain. Taya stood by her horse, fingers brushing the saddle as if weighing whether to stay or vanish like a dream. Jack stepped out onto the porch, his hat in hand, the years in his eyes tempered by something gentler now. "You came all this way just to find me?" he asked. She nodded once. "You gave me life when I had none. I wanted to give it back." He moved closer, voice low but sure. "I don't have much left, just this land, a tired heart, and a cabin too quiet for one man." Her smile trembled. "Then let it hold 2. For a moment they stood in the hush of the new day, two survivors bound by an old mercy, now reborn as something tender. Jack reached for her hand, rough and warm against his own. "Then stay," he said, "not out of gratitude, but because you want to." Taya's eyes glistened, catching the light like water over stone. "I told you, Cowboy," she whispered, her voice steady with promise. "I came to marry you." The wind stirred the grass, carrying her words across the endless, waiting plains.